Welcome all. We'll start, as we always do, by honoring our country with pledge of allegiance. Can you join us? Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Sorry.
First item would be to seek approval of tonight's agenda. Second. Randy and Doyle, all in favor, aye. Opposed? 2.05, we have a scholarship presentation. Dr. Penny, I'll let you take that over.
Thank you, Mr. Mills. Our friends from Education Staffing Solutions are here tonight. Samantha Moore has been a great partner with the district, also a patron and parent at Lincoln Elementary, and so excited to award one of our best graduates this year a scholarship, and really excited for Rachel. And Samantha, I'll turn it over to you, and I'm a little intrigued because I don't know the amount, so I can't wait to see the big check.
Awesome. Well, I don't know her name. She's going to come take pictures for us. Dr. Penny, we would love for you to be involved in these photos.
Thank you.
As well.
Be honored.
Thank you so much. All right. On behalf of ESS, the Aspiring Educators Scholarship goes to Rachel Bader for $1,000.
So where are you headed?
Missouri State.
Missouri State, and they pride themselves on producing more teachers than any other state, any other state university in Missouri. And you're going to study early childhood. I've got the contract ready. So we are truly growing our own in the Lincoln County R3 School District, and
She'll be back to substitute for us
Oh, yeah,
on
good.
Christmas breaks and spring breaks. So
Rachel's
we're
parents are
gonna-
here tonight. So Amy, thank you so much. Thanks for coming. I'm so proud of Rachel. I know you guys are as well.
Thank you.
And congratulations.
Thank you guys so much. We'll see you soon.
Yeah, thank you.
Congratulations. Very good. All right, 2.06, we actually have a couple guests that I've asked to be on the agenda. First up, Mr. Dansman. Hello, the floor is yours.
Thank you. I appreciate your time, your willingness to listen to me tonight. I kind of speak in front of people pretty often. I'm a trainer by nature. I'm not good at being quiet. I'm not good at staying still, so it works out. But it's normally technical. Not much of an emotional component to what I do most days. So this is a little bit different for me. First off, I wanted to come out in support of removing the rule that banned trans children from the bathroom. I have a feeling you guys might have heard a lot the other way, so I thought that maybe you guys could hear there are parents out there that are glad this has been changed. I do have some concerns, and I think there's still a lot more to do, because I really feel like the legal landscape was different than this rule wouldn't have been removed, and I feel like the legal landscape changed, that this rule would come back. And one of the things I want to kind of help get across tonight is not having that rule, no matter what the legal environment was, we had no laws. It's good for all students. It's not just an issue of trans students, it's good for all students. So I kind of want to start off, if you've heard the term cisgender before, raise your hand. And I'm only addressing the board, but y'all can play along if you want. So if you've heard the term cisgender, raise your hand. Okay. So we haven't heard the term cisgender. So that's one of the reasons that I want to bring that up is when we're making decisions about things, understanding is important. Understanding is huge. And education is what we're here about, it's what we do, it's what I do professionally too. So understanding is a huge thing. So one of the things that I base this off of, well, two things that I base this off of. You had a speaker that was from the other side and requested that parents say, run this up higher, appeal higher, let's get this law changed. I even heard that from the board. Now, I hope that there are some members on the board that feel as I do, that are glad that rule's not there. Because rules like that, they come out of fear, okay? So, cisgender, just so we can start understanding, means basically cis is same. So, if my sense of self and who my gender is matches my body and my sex is not diverse, then I'm cisgender. So, you're probably all cisgender. You never heard the term, you didn't know it. I didn't either, okay, not for a long time. So, it's good that we're here, it's good that we're having this discussion. Alright, so cisgender is the opposite of transgender. So, fear leads to anger, anger leads to hate, and hate leads to suffering. Some of you may notice I just quoted Yoda, okay? Guy was wise behind his height, okay? Short guy, a lot of wisdom packed in there. When I talk about this rule being good for everybody, understanding and good for everybody, fear, hate, anger, they're bad for the people that it's directed at. But they're bad for the people that are afraid too. They're bad for the people that are angry. They're bad for everyone. Fear, anger, hate, it's a burden. And it's not something that any of us should have to carry. Okay, so understanding is the key to getting past that. So we fear what we don't understand. And education helps us understand. So it's the greatest tool we have to address this, is education, if we're willing to use it. So, I like stories. We talk about in training, people remember stories. So, here's one for you. This little kid, 3 or 4 years old in bed. They get scared. These kids do it, right? They call out for a parent. Parent comes in, and they say, "There's a monster under my bed." Parent looks under the bed. Wow, that is the biggest monster I've ever seen. You don't believe the teeth on that thing. You better stay in bed and stay covered up till morning or it's going to eat your face off. Okay? A couple things are immediately obvious there. That kid, going to stay in bed till morning. Okay? Probably not going to sleep, but we'll be in bed till morning. The other thing is, horrible parent. Because what they did is they took an imaginary threat. They made it real for that child. They gave them fear when they could have given them understanding. Look under here. It's no monster. That's all they had to do. So, one of the things that has been brought up is, hey, well, it might not be safe. We have trans kids in the bathroom, cis kids, term we all know now. All right. Question for you, if you're willing to guess. How many verifiable accounts are there of trans people attacking cis people in a restaurant? Anybody want to hazard a guess at that number? Anyone can answer? Give you a hint? 0. It's a monster running like that. It's an imaginary threat. Okay? The speaker that spoke last, if I'm to take her at her word, didn't actually think that would happen. She didn't think the trans would be attacked. She thought that someone would seek to take advantage. Someone would try to take advantage. Anybody want to guess how many verifiable occurrences there are of someone who is cis, pretending to be trans, to get into a restaurant to victimize them? I'll give you a hint, it's the same thing. None. It hasn't happened. And believe me, if it had, somebody would dig it up and it'd be her. So, the other side to that, trans people are 4 times more likely than cis people to be the victim of violence. 4 times more likely. Because of that fear that we had when we could handle and understand. So, what I'm saying is, we don't need to deal with the trans kid in the bathroom. That isn't what we need to deal with. We need to deal with the fear of the trans kid. That is the issue. That is what's causing people to be concerned. So, another quote. This isn't Yoda. I don't actually know who this is from. So, what we don't understand, we fear. What we fear, we judge as evil. What we judge as evil, we seek to control, and we cannot control the attack. Think about that. We'll come back to that in just a minute. How many students are there at Trowbridge County High School? Softball question, guys.
Approximately about 1,500.
About 1,500. Okay. So approximately 0.6 of the population identifies as trans or non-binary. So for every 1,000 kids you have about 6. So let's say there's 9, and that's not a strong suit, but I'm so let's say there's 9. The trans kids are outnumbered 166 to 1. So when we look at who might be the most likely to feel like they should be afraid, or who might be the most likely to need protecting, is it the 166 or the 1? Like, they're not there to hurt them. So I'd love to see training for faculty and staff on LGBTQ issues. I'd love to see training for the students on it. Because if they learn about sexual orientation and gender identity, they're going to realize it's not threatening, and people are just born the way they're born. Like, it's not, nobody's going to talk them into it, you know? Like, you have to be born that way to be that way. And nobody chose it. I think that would go a long way to decrease bullying. Because it is happening, and LGBTQs are way more likely to be bullied. There's a lot of resources out there. I would volunteer and happy to help find those resources. I don't know if you have other groups, but I know you have a Gay Straight Alliance at your school. That might be a very good vehicle to use to help with this sort of thing. And so we're going to get a little bit personal. We're going to revisit the quote, okay? So, what we don't understand, we fear. If you're born cis and straight, you're not going to have any innate understanding of what a gay person or a trans person experiences in life. But we can get to know them, we can get to know about them, and start to have that understanding. So, the next line, what we fear we judge as evil. So this is the personal part. I grew up in a small rural community in South Carolina. And when I say small, Troy is a metropolis compared to where I grew up, okay? We probably didn't have half as many people as your high school in the entire town, and I lived on the outskirts of town, between 2 swamps, okay? Also, y'all don't have mosquitoes here, okay? You think you do, but you don't. So, I heard it from a very early age. I heard it from peers. There was serious homophobia. They're wicked, they're sinning, they're choosing to live an evil life. They're gonna go to hell for that. Don't do that. I heard it my entire upbringing. I went to college, met some friends, found out after I hung out a little while, she's bi, it's gay, just normal people. And part of the biggest realization is realizing it's not anything anybody chose. They didn't choose it, it's just who they are. Just being who they're made to be. So, what we fear, we judge as evil. What we judge as evil, we seek to control. We have a prescribed course of treatment by the American Medical Association for treating trans kids. We have states, including our own, which have either passed or attempted to pass rules that would criminalize that medical seek to control. We have insurance companies. Okay, for gender-related care. And if you think that it's not essential to their survival, you're wrong. But that's probably a bigger discussion than we have time for. So, take control. When we can't control, or remember what we did with things we can't control, attack. I told you they're 4 times more likely to be the victim of violence. All those things are already happening. The only thing we really have that we can really do at this level is to go back to step 1. Teach the understanding we don't have to do. So we don't get all the way down to the end of that for us to attack. Education understanding is the best tool for that. And you heard a little bit about me. If I can go from this incredibly homophobic upbringing to addressing the school board about LGBTQ issues, it can work for many, many people. Because it is no secret. That's the right parent is. Thank you. I do have some handouts with some notes, in case you didn't take enough. I don't print, so who doesn't want one? Full sheet.
We can reproduce, yeah.
Guys, well, thank you for your time, and I'm serious about that offer to help find resources. I know we all want kids safe and happy, and I think this is a very prime way to do that. Appreciate it.
Very good. 2.07, our second, community member who has requested, to be on the agenda is Mr. Martin. So, Mr. Martin?
Sorry, this is I feel really much of a difference. I'm a little tall. I want to start by saying thank you for your time. I know you all are very good people. There's some insurance folks in here, teachers, business owners, farmers, few state rep candidates. So I just want to say thank you for your time. I'm hoping by the end of my discussion tonight that it will lead the school district to more transparency and accessibility. Last month I attended the school board meeting and was rather upset with what I saw by the end of the meeting. Leading up to the meeting, there were major discussions in the community surrounding those that identify as transgender to use the bathrooms, locker rooms, and other facilities of their choice. This led to a great turnout of parents that wanted to discuss such a major policy issue, yet only one was allowed to speak. When I heard another parent try to speak up on an issue that may affect their child's safety and how they go about their daily school participation, they were shut down by a school board member that said this is not an open forum. I must ask the board, how are parents supposed to easily access their elected officials to speak to them? Is that not why we have elected officials? To represent us and to hear our voices when we desire change in the community. This is what I was taught in civics classes when I graduated from Troy III just a few years ago. Has that much changed in our local government systems since 2018? The board explained that this is because they are volunteers and don't have time to listen to everybody's concerns. I understand that this is an unpaid position, but you must understand that you are not volunteers. You have been given powers as elected officials to decide how we go about our day-to-day lives. Tax increases, how successful our children are, and even the safety of our community can be solely decided upon by you. Access to you should be as easily as a Google search and an email. When the board motioned to move to closed session, at least a dozen parents, if not more, gathered outside to discuss what had happened in the meeting. The primary concern I heard described how they looked for what there was no accessibility or transparency within the school board. One parent described how they looked for what seemed like forever for that night's school board agenda online and found nothing. A second mentioned how they wanted to know where their money is being spent in the district, adding that it seems every year the school district is asking for another tax increase, bond issue, or increase of the tax levy. Another mentioned how there is no easy way to reach out to the school board members. No email, phone number, or address can be found anywhere, unlike other elected officials around the county and the state. And then, to all of our surprise, another woman came out of the building crying. She discussed with us issues surrounding her own child, how the school board is doing nothing to help her, and how if she dared to speak out publicly, she would no longer be able to speak to this board surrounding the issues she wanted addressed. This is what led me to speak to you tonight. During that gathering, I learned that there is a procedure in place to speak to the school board. First, you must send an email at least 72 hours ahead of the time of the meeting requesting to speak. Then you will receive a response from Mrs. Flynn, who will coordinate a meeting with Dr. Mark Pinney per district protocol, and that he will speak to you before you address the board. The parents additionally added that Dr. Pinney will then decide how and when you need to address the board. So this month I did as they said. I emailed Mrs. Flynn and waited for a response. I waited for about a week, and when I did get an email back, I was busy and got back to her Friday night when I had a chance to. To my dismay, when I went to respond, I realized I was told that since I didn't schedule a meeting with Dr. Pinney, I had to speak in closed session, and that I would have to wait until everybody else left the room in order to speak. I am sorry, but this is deeply disturbing. Dr. Mark Pinney is an unelected administrator for the district. Why is it that policy has him dictating who can speak to the school board? I did not vote for Dr. Penny to be the leading figure of the school board, yet every school board meeting that I come to has him seemingly leading it, and most of the school board sitting silently. This isn't how it's supposed to be. We vote for the school board to represent us, to hear our concerns, not Dr. Penny and his team of unelected administrators to give you a report every month. You're not here to represent Dr. Mark Penny, his team of unelected bureaucrats, nor any school principals, counselors, or teachers. You're here to represent me. You're here to represent the parents that are behind me tonight. You're here to represent the taxpayers and parents of the Troy R3 School District. Take that into consideration tonight, and please allow them time to speak on the issues that they want to bring before you. Thank you for your time.
Any questions for Mr. Martin?
None.
Thank you. All right, moving on, section 3, consent agenda. I would seek approval of tonight's consent agenda.
So moved.
Okay. First, Mr. Ladman, second by Mr. Siebert. All in favor, aye? Opposed? All right, under section 4, report of the superintendent, Dr. Penny.
Thank you, Mr. Mills. Our friends from Jose Hard and Company, Larry Hard and Bill Brandon, are here tonight to consider a resolution authorizing the sale of $10 million of general obligation bonds that the community voted on April 5th, 2022. Welcome, Mr. Hart and Mr. Brandon.
You're passing out the packets. Our intention is to go through them quickly, since you're pretty familiar with the process, but we will take the time to answer any questions that you have. Neil's done most of the work on it. We do have an A+ rating on your financing without being in a direct deposit program. And as he will explain to you, that it looks like your interest rate got the same as if you were in the direct deposit program or better, so congratulations on that. I'll turn it over to Neil. I may make a comment or two, but we do encourage you to ask questions or make comments if you have them.